One of the things that I also think, as far as the community policing goes, and I think they may be involved in more so in certain neighborhoods than others. I'm not sure about that, but I've been a proponent of social workers being involved with the police department. Not everything has to escalate into violence when there's an arrest taking place. The main thing is I just don't see the police out enforcing
Yeah, my name is Don Greenhouse. Questions, please. Good question. My name is Don Treehouse. There we go. Can't hear me nor see me. Anyway. There you go. The question is policing. I work pretty closely with District 3, the busiest police district on the west side. Price Hill we deal with a lot of criminal activity. Last night, literally around the corner from where I live on Hermosa, a young man was shot, 30 years old, in critical condition right now from what I hear. Now the issue here is the building where he lives has been actively engaged in criminal activity for quite a long time, over 10 years. We've got landlords that are free riding right now, seem to be free riding on police services and fire services. And we need to do something to make these out-of-town landlords and or in-town landlords pay the freight for the amount of what they're asking from the city of Cincinnati. And I see that as something that needs to be done and can be done quickly. Secondly, we've got a big heroin problem on the west side still. We've got people laying in the streets. Now we got Drake, it's going to be empty here soon enough. And I've been working with the county and the state trying to lobby to say, look, people that are chronically addicted or extremely mentally ill, we need to put them in a facility where they can get better.
I found this on the web.
That's it.
Again, my name is Kevin Farmer. I'm running for Cincinnati City Council. I'm just going to be honest with you. You are the bosses. Y'all are really. I will be an employee. If I'm elected, I'll be an employee. If you allow me to be elected, I'll be an employee of the city of the people. So let's be frank with it. So I got a real common sense solution. Let's give the chief of police position back to the people, and let's re-elect our people. So what I would do is re-elect our chief of police. So what we're gonna do is pretty much, I believe, like how our sheriff is elected, our chief of police needs to be elected. Because if y'all have a problem with your chief of police, think about it like this: you can pretty much re-elect or go out. If y'all have a problem with your chief of police, you need to go around. You say, how are you gonna do that, kid? I will have to amend the charter, and I couldn't do it by myself. So I would have to take 4 other individuals or lobby 4 other council members, if y'all allow me to get the job, to be able to pull this amending charter to be able to get that done. That pretty much I will have to change legislation on how we do business in the city of Cincinnati. One thing that Raphael Prophet said, we have to restructure. And the only way to restructure is to give it back to the people, because now if your chief is not doing a good job, now you have the power to re-elect a new chief. Same day as you elect your sheriff. You didn't stand for Sheriff Jim Neal, you went for Sheriff McGuffey. And if Sheriff McGuffey ain't gonna do a good job, y'all gonna re-elect somebody else to do a better job. I think that needs to be what the proposition is, to put the power back into the people without chief.
All right.
Thank you. Good. I'm still Steve Gooden. Very quickly, sorry. Okay. As someone who's worked in the criminal justice system for a long time, I can say I do think state police community relations has taken a real hit over the last few years. And I'm somebody who, over time, really came to believe in the collaborative agreement. At the heart of it was community policing, which really means beat policing, which means officers out of their cars who get to know the neighborhoods, who get to understand that maybe somebody who is acting foolish in one moment in time isn't necessarily criminal, and get to know the families. It is proven to reduce arrests and to make police community interactions better. We don't have enough staffing to get started the collaborative, frankly, over time. So we do need to be revisiting all of the police staff in my view. Too many officers who are retirement age who simply aren't on the streets and are not listening to the collaborative. In regards to the police chief, those are the first people, frankly, to call for her to step down after the dust down on 4th and Elm Street. I respect her greatly as a person. She was a great police officer. She's too nice, in my view. I think the police chief has to be, she's too nice, not in terms of policing, but she needs to be independent of political pressure and able to stand up and say to the mayor and council, hey, we don't have what we need. We are not fulfilling our duties, and I believe that's a place we should slow down.
Thank you.
My name is Donald Washington. And when it comes to policing in our neighborhoods, they always want to pretend as if the black community is anti-police. And we're not anti-police, we're actually anti-bad police.
That's right.
And I think it's been too long of that's just the norm of bad police. And so if you want me to sit up here and say, oh, well, I stand behind the police, and I will be feeling reality and tell you that, yes, we do need the police, but we need good police. So that's why I agree with Mr. Prophet down there and his sentiment of that homegrown police, the people who really care about the community. I don't think the chief is that. So fire the chief and get us good police.
Thank you. I'm Lakita Cole. I do think there is definitely some problems with the police department. What I'd actually like to see is that our police department collaborate with some of the organizations out there that are trying to do a good job in policing, particularly those that are in the neighborhood. There is like real True out there. I think he's really good with working with the community. You have Ivan Foley out there working with the community. They're supposed to be fighting our community leaders that are actually in the community. Why not work with them? Because they have the respect of the community. And I think that's what's important what we need. That's what we're missing the ball at. Working with the various organizations that have the respect of the neighborhood, because they're driving their cars and saying, we get back to getting out of your cars, walking the beat, you get rid of the community. But who knows the regular community? The people that are in the community, the ones that have been working in the community, those organizations that have been there, and those organizations that we trust and we believe in and we want to work with. And that's who the collaboration is to come at. Work with those organizations that have been out there in their community. And other than that, I think the police chief is in over her head. She may have been a fine police officer, but as the police chief, she's in over her head. And I'm sorry, strong. Figure out how to do that. All right, we're going to change the rules just a little bit because of the number of questions that we have. I'd like to get as many answers as So starting with Ms. Cole, what are the top 3 pressing priorities that you see facing Cincinnati? Why and what do you plan to do about it? One thing that I've worked on and I've continued to be involved in is something I went in on when I was first on council is our youth. I think it's important that we continue to have programs out there, or they make programs out there that they really feel good for young, and not for our young people. We need to bring back CCY. When I was on council, we made sure that I made sure that I invested in our young people. I can just give them a number, make sure they have those life skills that are necessary. I think that's a critical issue that is missing. We need to fully fund our recreation centers. Right now, they're not fully funded, so there's no place for our young people to go at all. The rec centers are in the community. Our parents can't afford them. I'm sorry, I'm an 8-year-old and no, my son does not go to the recreation center for the summer program because frankly, I can't afford it. So it's too expensive. So where do you think these kids are gonna go? These parents don't have one kid, they have more than one child. And so we need to fully fund our recreation centers. The next thing is safety. We need to, like I said, get back to basics, making sure that our police officers are getting to know the residents, as you said. Okay, go for home, go for home.
My name is Donald Washington. And on my platform, I am advocating for a gun buyback program. I think safety, as she mentioned, is really a pressing thing in our communities, and we know this. I also want to advocate for mental health classes being implemented in all Cincinnati public schools because of the unsafe neighborhoods, our kids experience a lot of trauma, and that is what's being ignored. Because when you get to the trauma, that's when you get in the root of the problem. So it's not more police and give them more money and more strict rules, because those things doesn't help with the problems, the trauma that we are experiencing in those neighborhoods. I'm a veteran. I've been in Iraq. I know what PTSD is. And this is exactly what our kids are experiencing. So the main thing, you said 3 things, but the main thing to me is our youth. And that's what I will be advocating for, all positive things for our youth.
Again, Steve Gooden again. I never thought I would say this, but we should be taking a page from the city of Cleveland, okay, in terms of my priorities. Their homicide rate is down almost 30% over the year. And they have invested in their youth, they've invested in their rec centers, they've invested in some real summer jobs programs, and they have also invested in community policing and beat policing again. I believe if we go back and we're honest with ourselves, the collaborative agreement was a covenant that we had. It is. It should be. That's really, I agree with you. It is a covenant between City Hall and this community. And we're not honoring it in a lot of ways. We're not staffing it appropriately. We're not policing the policing. But also at the same time, another big initiative of mine is trying to develop or try to figure out our zoning and development process. That's a lot more than 1 minute. It's a mess right now. We're steering development and for-profit development in the same handful of neighborhoods. Most developments get left out. There is no transparency here. We pushed it all to nonprofits.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Kevin Farmer, Cincinnati City Council, but my thing is fraud, waste, and abuse, and lack of integrity in government and in our community. So that is the biggest key. Another thing is what Mr. Donald Washington said. You can't really argue suffer from PTSD, and if we can't attack PTSD by putting a state of emergency on childhood trauma, which I will literally advocate for and push out motion every council meeting if I'm elected, or if y'all allow me to be elected, to be able to put this state of emergency on childhood trauma like they put the state of emergency on this opioid epidemic. So my thing is we have to have an aggressive approach, and it's like what I said with our mayor, he has to be more proactive. We have to be actually so proactive that we can literally, like, I'm being honest, we gotta give some hugs. We have no love in the black community when it comes to our people and our young males. They don't feel, when you see their heads down and walking down the street, they feel lost and hopeless, and now y'all will walk right past them and not even say, are you okay? Are you doing well? Or can I do anything for you? Y'all allow these behaviors to escalate, and that's what I gotta say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Andre House again. Obviously, public safety is at the top of everyone's list, so I'm not going to get into public safety anymore. We also need to be talking about true life development on my side of town. But when you seem to be downtown, and we see a lot of lobbyists kind of running the show at City Hall. And that's not good for anybody in this room, anybody on my side, your side, or the other side. When the lobbyists are calling the shots, we're shut out. And that's not a good way to run government. Lastly, just basic services. Come on, our roads are best, our sidewalks need to be improved. We just need to improve our city from the ground up. That's simple. So we'll keep it that way.
Gary Corbett, and I'll follow up on that. I worked for the Waterworks for 31 years, so my focus is on city services. I created training courses for employees with the city as far as our infrastructure, and I would focus a lot on that for all 52 communities so that everyone is equitable, city services across the board. It was ridiculous what happened last year with the snow and the potholes in the streets that we have. And the number 2 is housing. And I know that's a tough issue, but one of the easiest ones for me is to try to restrict Airbnbs and open up more housing for people in the city of Cincinnati. And the third one is mental health. And I talked to Josh Arnold. He is one of the advocates of having social workers as far as policing also.
Thank you.
Vote profit for people. Anyway, so public safety, we're talking about the CHRC, revisiting that. Also, more homegrown cops, right? Lakeita said we got to create these economic opportunities for our children, more partnerships with CPS and other business communities. But it's number one paramount is affordable housing. We have to find a way to fund the affordable housing trust. Because the measures that are being undergone or taking place right now, excuse the expression, it's a garden hose on a 5-alarm fire. Until we get this affordable housing, I grew up in affordable housing, Parktown there in the West End, good, clean, affordable housing that provided opportunities for families and children. That's what we have to, that's fundamental. That's what we both focus on. And I will, you vote profit for people, I'm on council, we're going to fund the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Amen.
It's called low-income housing. We need more low-income housing for these youth, for these youngsters that's coming up. We need job creation, and reduce crime. We don't produce these jobs for these youth out in the street. So many developers come to the neighborhood and build and do not give these youth jobs to stand on the corner. They don't do that at all. They let the money come in and go out. They don't keep it in the community. That's wrong. The homeless problem, we got a homeless problem. It comes back to the low-income housing. That's what we need, not no affordable housing, brother. We keep saying that. What's affordable for them is not affordable for us. We black. Keep it real what's going on. The railroad money, they lied to us. The pothole's supposed to get fixed, the bridge's supposed to get fixed. They keep lying to us. They keep lying to get in these seats, y'all, and not telling the truth.
The money. Where is the money? Where's our money? Where's our money? Where's our dollars?
Step on Pryor. Fight for the people.
So, to my point, and all of it has been said amongst everyone, but public safety, pedestrian safety, and I have also the piece of childhood trauma, because a lot of my students get therapy, get counseling in our schools, but they don't see faces that look like them. And that has become a huge problem with them relating to people. So they need to see people that look like them in order to trust them. Affordable housing, like what was said, is crucial. The homelessness, all those things are crucial.
All right, thank you. Question from the audience, and I add on to it just a little bit, because the question is, have you read the collaborative agreement, memorandum of understanding, and its refresh? And I'm going to add why or why not. And we'll start with
I have read parts of it, but I have not read a whole collaborative agreement. I do know about the collaborative agreement, but like I said, I need to be quite frank and honest, dive into it more and see the nuts and bolts of the agreement.
Step Pryor again. I read the collaborative agreement, CPOP, Sarah program about police, and we all need to get a refresh from the two that's sitting on this panel. We all need to dive in deep and sit with this Goldie and understand her whole meaning of this, but we don't. We don't do this. So I need more refresh myself, but I understand this sister. She's fighting that battle in the community, at the bus stops, standing over the ramp with all this shooting going on. That's part of the collaborative agreement, brother. If you understand this one, what she fight through and fight for us, you should understand the whole collaborative agreement in your heart for her, what she do for the community. So we all need a refresh.
I feel confident, yes, I read the collaborative agreement and the refresh. And what's probably significant to me in that agreement is the metrics that you're talking And part of the metrics, and I'm going right back, right back into what our police force looks like. We have to talk about how we're going to recruit and educate, because just being a cop is something that doesn't happen naturally. You have to shape and develop people to become successful police officers, especially being more engaged with the community. But also, I wanted to talk about there's something was said about in terms of that we need a police chief that's less political. If you all don't understand that issue 15 years ago, changed the way that the police and fire chief is picked. The city manager, issue 5, thank you. Issue 5, back I think in the 90s, changed where the city manager picks the police chief and fire chief, right? Who picks the city manager? The mayor. So understand it's totally political.
Jerry Corbett, I have read the collaborative agreement. I have read the collaborative agreement. I think when it was the original portion before the renew, it was a real emphasis on making it work, and it did seem to work pretty well, and the community involvement was a lot stronger, and you could tell me better than I know whether or not the community involvement is still the same. I have an issue, and I don't think this would ever work, but I'm always I don't think that we'll ever be able to change that, but that would be my
Thank you. I'm Don Treehouse. Yes, I've looked at the collaborative agreement. I've read it. It's been a while. I want to say one thing. I took Sarah training with Iris Rowland. And Iris and I may not see eye to eye on everything, but we're both in the streets. We're both doing the work. And I took the Sarah training very seriously. And I seriously, I really, what's going on in the streets with just the general chaos sometimes. You need to really go through the training. It will help you, and you'll understand it. And I know it's helped me.
Sam got killed by Officer Raymond Tenzin, very devastating tragedy. I ended up going to jail on that tragedy because I was protesting in favor of the collaborative agreement on how police use of force is escalated. It can be very what they call proactive. So what I'm saying is, what I do agree with collaborative agreements is the Cincinnati Citizen Complaint Board. I always agree with that. That's one process that I do think does not really back the complainer. It could actually back more of the officers. So we have Gabriel Davis as the director in that department. We have a new person that's in that department. I just think it's a little bit washed down, and we can more enforce that type of department to be able to, when complainers do complain with excessive force or bad police officers, that the complaint gets justified. Thank you.
Steve Gooden again, and I've absolutely read and studied the collaborative and the refresh over the years, and I think there's a few important things to consider about it. Number one, it has been undermined both by the politicians and the board. Absolutely insert politics that strong our Supreme Court was undermined, taking away our ability to require police officers.
My name is Donald Washington, and I've actually read some of the collaborative agreement. I've been back and forth between it and the Futures Commission. They both really want this. But with that being said, I think that we can have these agreements, but in order for these agreements to work, we need people who will abide by those agreements. So I definitely think that the collaborative agreement is needed. But again, as we were mentioning the police earlier and the city leaders earlier, that they're not doing a good job, we need those people in places that are going to abide by those agreements. So I've read some of the agreement, and I definitely think that the city is falling short when it's coming to that agreement.
Thank you, Lakita Cole. Yes, I have read the agreement, and I know you hearing Sarah, so because one of the things I think is missing is that the lack of education, not only the police department, but with the council members and the community of understanding the whole entire collaborative. Here's Sarah. So Sarah is scanning, analysis, response, and assessment. And that's what's missing. We don't have that in our community. And I do think when we have this refresher, what I would like to see happen is the council members, when they get elected, that they have to go back and sit down and really have an understanding of what the collaborative means, as well as sit down with the police chief and the captains, because that's where I think the problem comes in as well. And we need to be educated more on it, not just the elected officials, but the community, so we can hold them accountable. And the complaint authority needs to be revamped, because again, I keep hearing, we keep going to the complaint authority like it's going to help us, and let's be honest, it's not supporting us. A lot of the times, it's in favor of the police department.
Thank you. Next question, I'm going to combine two questions from the audience for the sake of time. One is everyone or someone wants to know political affiliation, first to what your party representation. And I will combine that with this question, also from the audience, is how will you ensure minority-owned and small businesses have fair access to contracts, to city contracts?
Thank you. Yes. Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
First of all, with your party affiliation. Secondly, how will you ensure if you're local to city council that small businesses, like minority-owned businesses, have access to city contracts?
My party affiliation, I am an independent Democrat. I am endorsed by the Charter Committee, and just getting back to a lot of times I think it's important to be independent and not focused on the party, person that they're doing in the community. And just because they look like us, they're all for us, and I'm really clear about that. And what I'm gonna do for, that's one of the reasons why I'm running, because I think, I don't know if you all know about the WPE. Right now, what's going on with WPE, if you are a minority business owner, I can qualify for WPE. WPE is women minority business owner. So I have to go for minority business owner, and not a woman business owner. Yes, that's what happens. And I'm not understanding how this council has allowed that to happen. Right now, what's happening is like Michelle O'Rourke, who got in trouble some time ago. She's the only person right now in the construction field that can deal on contracts, and she's a white female. And what about the black females who've been left out? And so that's something I want to make sure we get back to and giving an opportunity for all business owners, particularly Thank you.
Donald Washington, and I am a true independent. I don't affiliate with any party. I think both parties think the problem too much party politics, and it's way decisions from the party. So, and as far as minority-owned businesses, I am definitely pro-business. I was an entrepreneur myself. I truly believe that the percentage that the city gives out to minorities as far as contracts need to be increased. That's just a given. So I'm definitely pro-minority businesses, and if you put me in a seat, I'm going to do everything I can for you.
Again, Steve Gooden. I'm running as a charterite and an independent. I was someone, just to be very frank, who was associated with the Republican Party. I was endorsed as a Republican the last time I ran for office. However, back in 2015-16, when Donald Trump came down that escalator, I said, count me out. It's not what I'm doing. So, I'm not supporting any election. I've never supported him, never voted for him, never been there. There's people out there saying, oh, there's some sort of covert MAGA takeover of City Hall occurring. I can tell you that's absolutely untrue. Okay? This is an independent group, and we need independent-minded people. In regards to what's going on with minority business, that is a passion of mine. We're not doing enough. I can't talk about it effectively the time I have left. It is a mess trying to get online access. That's the number one thing I hear is trying to access the materials to even apply for that assistance is almost impossible. It starts with the website and it works on its way through. It just needs to be redone.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Evan Farmer. I'm from Cincinnati City Council. Like I said, fraud, waste, and abuse, and lack of integrity. So when it comes down to black businesses, let's be frank. Do we have our stuff in order? And do we have our stuff together to be able to get the contract? So what I'm proposing is that the thing is that government should be able to support is pretty much you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, and you're pretty much an insurance broker. Because these are the most costly things that when it comes down to black businesses that they can't afford. And the next we need to be able to understand that black businesses, y'all can't get paid first. Understand how business operates. You have to put money back into your businesses. And the next one we do apply, sometimes you don't have your paperwork in order. And the understanding, we don't understand different industries because the purchasing department and you want to get a contract. So let's say case in point construction. So we have to deal with prevailing wages, understanding a lot of black contractors in construction don't have the money set.
What is your party affiliation?
And my party affiliation is frankly from a Republican.
What?
Thank you.
My name's Don House. I'm an independent Democrat as well, just like Lakita, and I'm a lifelong Democrat. And some of my siblings are a little concerned, but I'm running as an independent with a charter endorsement. I think even the Democratic Party at times needs a little refresh, if you know what we're talking about. And so this time I'm already 66, so I'm kind of like, I'm here just to try to get some work done, get it done, do the best we can. When it comes to minority businesses, I look at it, I work with a lot of kids, and we try to get them into the trades. The trades are begging right now for jobs. Minority businesses right now, they need to be working with the trades because you've got stadiums, bridges, and viaducts that are going to get rebuilt over the next 10 years. You've got all kinds of jobs. It takes coordination. Among small businesses, it's a lot of work, but I would support anybody, and there's going to be opportunity and resources.
Thank you.
Jerry Corbett, I am a lifelong Democrat. I'm an endorsed Democrat in this race, but I am a lifelong Democrat. When I worked for the city, I dealt with some of the contracts. I was just one of many that was dealing with the contracts and the minority contracts. And like a lot of things, I think maybe there was good intent involved in it, but I witnessed this a lot with subcontractors where I think at the time it was 10% of the business that they would get on the major contracts. And a lot of the contractors use the same subcontractors all the time. And I never saw the subcontractors. It was a scam and the city needs to follow up on that.
Thanks for that, Jerry. Raphael Prophet. So I'm a Democrat, non-endorsed Democrat, even though I saw the endorsement. But when we talk about minority businesses, the city has always sought to try to grow minority participation, but a lot of the issues are the qualifications. So the city reached out to the Cincinnati African American Regional Chamber, companies such as Mortars, but also too, sometimes the minority businesses in terms of scale. That you have a lot of these contractors that minority businesses are just don't have the capacity. They're not large enough to qualify for it. So you have an organization like Webb, these consultants, which they will break down these large contracts, the partial them out to minority businesses. But Jerry said, part of the issue is that you have to break that relationships with a lot of these contractors have with these subcontractors.
Thank you.
My affiliation is a good Democrat. We got Democrats disguising as Republicans. Yes, they are. black businesses. I was advocating for a dump truck company, Stevenson Cool. Black business, owned with a woman. It is so sad. You got these spider webs who they got in cahoots to get these contracts. So we went out to Tri-County, where another dump truck business is. She had to go through her, a white lady, to want to get a contract through the city. We need to break that up. We need to break that up in city council. It's that old administration that they had, Cranley from all the way to now, it's a pattern, they keep doing it over and over for the black businesses, minority at that, women. And it's sad, it's sick. We keep going through this. My job is to fight for you and keep it 100 with y'all, not lie to y'all. It's a daggone shame how these politicians keep on lying just to get a seat for our vote. My goal is to fight and keep it real for y'all.
I'm Gary Favors again. I'm running as an independent. Have not sought any endorsements, but running this time as an independent. As far as minority businesses, we need to do a better job, specifically when I think about currently downtown. 3C/DC is saturated. We need to have minority-owned garages downtown, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be 3C/DC owned. So we know we need to do a better improvement of minority businesses in this city. Point blank.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to combine 3 questions from the audience. First of all, are you active or have you been active with your community councils? And also, can you share any initiative in the city that you have already taken a part of and been successful at achieving in the city of Cincinnati?
So I have not been part of any active community council initiatives in the city as of yet, because really purely my job as an educator and making sure our kids get the best education.
Can you name any initiative that you have successfully achieved?
I have started a mentoring program with a group of doctors with Mercy Hospital, specifically to get our boys interested, our black boys specifically, in the medical field. So that was an initiative that I started as a classroom teacher at Woodward High School when I taught. So that, again, that's in the education arena.
Stephon Pryor again, over around community council trustee, sits on the board for like 5 or 6 years, got involved in the community. If I'm in that community and over around fight for that community, why the hell nobody never got involved with the community council that you live in? So what that tells you, they don't give a damn what's going on in the community. That's what it tells you. And actually, community engagement work, that's my department, my committee. I went out to a event we just had down on Vine Street with tea in the back, with backpack giveaways and different events we did. So we gotta get involved. If you can't get involved to over around community council or different community council, you ain't about it.
Rockville Prophet, and yes, I'm involved. I see my president of Avondale Community Council back there, Sandra Jones Mitchell. Been involved in Avondale for many, many years. I'm also involved with the NAACP. I'm also involved in the Veteran Service Commission of Hamilton County. I'm also the president of the MLK Coalition. And so community involvement is part of who I am, right? And so now I think that second question was some initiatives. Started off, I remember being a firefighter, we did this blitz in terms of smoke detectors in homes, and now it's an actual program where you can call the city and get free smoke detectors, right? But also two things are unsuccessful. There's Public Safety Academy, trying to provide opportunities for our kids to become cops and firefighters. 7 years in now, still ain't got it done. Elect me, we'll get it done. And also reinventing the human relations, the Cincinnati Human Relations Commission. I see Representative back there. We're going to get that thing going because it is a bridge between the community and City Hall.
Gary Corbett. I'm not involved in the community I live in right now. I was involved in the Riverside Civic Community, and then I worked in Cincinnati Waterworks all those years, so I did go to different community councils around the state and talk to them about different things that were going on with the Cincinnati Waterworks. As far as the initiative I worked, it is related similar. I worked with the city of Cincinnati. When I went to the distribution division in the waterworks, I created a infrastructure training for everybody in the city. When I got there, there was 17% of the supervisors were minorities, even though the division was probably 75% black. So by the time I left, over 60%, 4 years after I left and went back to the other side of town, 60-some% of the supervisors were minorities.
Thank you.
Again, my name's Don Treehouse. I've been active in Price Hill for years. I'm on the community council. I've also worked with the Price Hill safety team with Patty Hogan. An old initiative that I did 30 years ago. I ran for council 30 years ago. We collected signatures to put the stadium tax on the ballot. They were going to force it through, but we put it on the ballot. Unfortunately, we lost, but at least we did the work and let the people speak. More recently, like I said, I worked with a lot of kids for 15 years, 16 years now. We've worked with a youth summer program, good group. We pay them, they do good work around the community, and hopefully a lot of them who I run into as they go on, they work at Kroger, they go do work with the trades, and hopefully they do okay. So that's something I'm very proud of.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Palmer. I'm the Cincinnati City Council, and there has been several initiatives that I took place in, have been a part of, advocated for, from the black agenda with the white jewelry. Remember that thing when it came down to having who you need to vote for and sending out, from literally being able to put more aid into closing the center, closing the health gap, even helping our recovery when it comes to revamping the collaborative street. The biggest initiative that I've been a part of was with Rosemary's Babies Company. Rosemary's Babies Company is a nonprofit organization that provides aid to teen parents and teen families. So when I got into that organization, I went to PR and marketing for that organization. That initiative to be able to build the Holloway House and Resource Center, which y'all see in North Avenue as we speak, on the corner of Lincoln and Reading Road, was a great feat, especially for a black founding and black ran organization. I understand how when it comes down to teen parent maternal health, that teen parents fall under the cracks and the stigma when it comes down to teen parents and teen families.
Let's cut that out.
Hello again, Steve Gooden again. I'll be brief. I'm a huge believer in the community council system. As a younger person, I was involved in my Northside Community Council. Then in recent years was the president of the Clifton Town Meeting, which is the Clifton Gaslight Community Council where I've lived the past 10 years or so. I'm extremely passionate about it because right now this Connected Communities program is specifically designed to cut community councils out of the development process. That is a huge priority for the Charter Party this year. In terms of initiatives, I was lucky enough to serve on City Council. We wrote our COVID budget back in 2021 when the Biden administration actually gave us $290 million and steered a lot of money into the community. At that time, we were very proud of what we did. I also wrote the city's ethics law, which actually bans developers from giving money when they have an active project. That's something that I'm also particularly proud of. The drug treatment, that's due to some family situations I've had, is a huge passion of mine. I share the Center for Addiction Treatment.
Thank you.
My name is Donald Washington. I have attended one OTR community meeting. Unfortunately, I do work evenings. I had to take off to be here tonight. I still have bills. But I did work as case management last year, and I was in the community with the kids. And this is one of the reasons I'm here today, because what I've seen with these kids, somebody needs to be there for them, and I want to be a voice for them. And as far as what was the next one? Oh, initiatives. So I would say the biggest initiative I've been through is growing up over the Rhine. And I know that that's not a joke, that's serious, because what I've made it through without having a stain on my record, never being in trouble, not being a statistic, and to stand up here with you today and say, hey, pick me, I'm ready to lead for you, that's an initiative that I am proud of. So, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Peter Cole, Vice President of the Bonneville Community Council. The summer youth program that the city had back in the day, that was something that was one of my initiatives that I fought for. I made sure we continued to have. Unfortunately, when I left, that's been left. I'm not sure what happened to it. I definitely want to bring it back. The food pass program, I don't know if you all remember the food pass program, where I would give tokens to the young people when they do something in our community, just to give it away, when we make sure they were active in our community, and we had to work for the food pass program, as well as the neighborhood business support fund that I created that is still going on, and making sure that our small businesses in our community and our community council are not going to use the same funds. They have two separate pocket funds that can help our community move forward. So the neighborhood business support fund, food pass program, and our young and summer youth program that we're here at the citywide.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Let's start with Brian. A couple of questions. How do you plan to address racial disparities in housing, healthcare, and employment in the city if you're elected? And also, what will you do for the increasing senior aging population that also faces a lot of issues? First part. Racial disparities in housing, healthcare, and employment in the city, and then address city senior care by the city.
So let me tackle the first one regarding senior care. It's something I have been really interested in, particularly being out there with senators who a lot of times. I think it's important that we forget, go back, and I think Stephon talked about a lot about our senior housing. We need to make sure that we are checking our housing and making sure we're up to code. I think that's a policy that needs to be in place, particularly with our seniors' homes. I think right now they're just on a money grab. And they're not going to collect their money from our seniors, but not making sure that they are living in the best conditions. I think that it's also important that as far as whether nutritional value is not there. So that's something that I want to put into policy. That means senior buildings are not up to par, but they can be the ones that need to be invested in as well. The other thing in terms of addressing disparities in our community, I think that's not only through policy, but making sure that we're putting our money behind everything the same. Right now, we talk about addressing them, but where's the funding to happen? Okay, we go to the poll, vote for poll. Thank you.
Few questions.
How do you plan to address racial disparities in housing, healthcare, and employment in the city? And then what will you do on city council for our seniors?
Okay. For our seniors, that's actually part of my job now. I'm a medical carrier, and I go into these nursing homes, and they are unemployed. I mean, I don't know how some of them are still open, and I do think that needs to be addressed. So I think there needs to be a special counsel just for our senior homes from the city. They need regular inspections. They need regular audits, whatever you want to call it, because they are really bad. And what's the next question?
Racial disparities in housing, healthcare, and employment in the city. Okay. How are you going to address that?
Racial disparities
you got to remember it first.
The racial disparities in the housing thing. Look, I hear some of my candidates up here when we're talking about affordable housing and low income housing. I support it 100%. But what we have to understand is that with so much lower housing, this is how our schools are funded, and that's a problem. So we can only have so much of that in order for these schools to be funded properly.
That was great. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, Steve Goodman again. Look, we are in a unique time. I don't need to tell anyone here that issues of racial disparity, and particularly how we deal with our seniors, there is one through line here, and it is the uncertainty we're seeing in our federal programs and from the federal level. Okay, they're cutting the living daylights out of these programs even as we speak. There's a great deal of uncertainty. I'm dealing with it right now. My father's 85 years old in a memory care facility, and there are months we don't know what he's going to get. Okay, so it's very real to me. So I think as a city, it's incumbent upon us that we need to revisit our health department. We need to revisit what services we can reasonably provide to try to build that safety net that the state and the federal government is attacking. And I think that is a very good first start to help people get back into the job market. We also need, to Don's point, to crack down on some of these out-of-town landlords who are managing senior housing and doing a really terrible job. That is a place where the city needs to write on the step.
Yes. Amen.
Again, my name is Gavin Farmer, running for Cincinnati City Council. Pretty much this basic solution that I come up with for this not a one-monkey solution is creating a third shift initiative, which means that if you actually look at your city council body, the city council body actually works pretty much during the day and during the week. So we don't have the initiative that nobody in the city council is taking an 11 to 7 type of shift. So with that, is that more that actually access more political oversight, so we can be able to put that political oversight from different departments like police, fire, engineering, and medical. Because let's be honest, we understand when it comes to crime really peaks its head after hours, and then next we don't even understand how many personnel that we have when it comes down to law enforcement. We have about 950 officers, but we don't understand how many officers are working on third shift on or between first and second. Then we also have an issue when it comes to grandma. Like, who's checking on grandma after midnight? Nobody's checking on grandma unless you got Stephon Pryor going out with his game. And that's when it comes down to the open transparency. And that third shift process, you'll love it or hate it, but I think that it'll show an initiative to bring more oversight and shadow into the agencies and departments.
Thank you. Again, my name's Don Driehaus. We'll start with fair care. The way you operate is you don't take the nurses out of the public schools. They just did. I say bring them back. Bring the public school nurses back into the schools. That's funded by the city. That can be done immediately. Secondly, when it comes to disparities in housing opportunity, that's a tough one. But I'll tell you what, I live in the most integrated neighborhood in the city with all kind of income levels and everything else. We learn to work together. We learn to work together in the community, and that's really cooperation is where it's going to come down. Ownership and cooperation. And lastly, when it comes to senior housing, I help an older gentleman who was my neighbor. Unfortunately, he kind of ran out of money. He ran out of time. And I've helped him. And right now we're managing with an independent living program at about a quarter of the expense of Medicaid. But what Medicaid is doing now, and what they force people to do to get Medicaid, is wrong. It should be addressed.
Thank you.
Jerry Corbett, as far as the answer, as far as taking care of our seniors, it goes back to what Steve said earlier also, and that is that it's a real concern with Medicaid and cuts in Medicaid, and it's going to be a problem with the medication, and afford medication, and also as far as the elderly, as far as their housing goes, the landlord should be held accountable for the housing that they live in and making sure that they get the heat and air conditioning. I mean, it's getting hotter in the summer. And as far as the racial disparity in housing, the biggest problem I see is that not enough low-income housing is being built. The development, even in Hyde Park Square, it's out of the range of most people, including myself. So I don't know how feasible it is, but one of the things I would propose is to add low-income housing to any development that is at a higher.
Thank you.
About Phil Profit. So what, the question is the plan. That's what we have to start. We have to start with a plan. I already talked about in terms of how our government right now has gotten off track. We had a plan 2012 that was totally ignored. We spent tens of thousands of dollars developing that. And so what I would do as a councilman is that we first have to come up with a plan. We know the disparities, especially the economic disparities. Stephon, when I said affordable housing trust, I'm talking about funding that trust. I'm not just talking about affordable housing.
we're talking about making housing affordable because the average income from a lot of African Americans in Cincinnati is less than $30,000, right? When you start talking about the whites, it's up to 50. And so we have to have a plan on how we're going to address it. Now, the seniors have to collaborate with groups like SOAC, bring those folks to the table, establishing work groups. How do we take care of that? These legacy. A lot of seniors are being priced out of their homes. And so we have to deal with that in legislation.
Thank you.
Stefan Pryor for City Council. I'm gonna stick with my seniors. I go into the nursing homes and I look at it and see mold all in the nursing homes. They're not getting fed right. Hamburger buns, French fries. That's a bunch of starch equals sugar. What would I do when I go to City Council, if I get elected from y'all? What I will do is get on it ASAP for our seniors. We don't want to erase the footprint y'all left behind. And that's what they're trying to do, and neglect our seniors. That's wrong. We need the health inspector up there to check that mold. Cecil Thomas in the back say, well, that's the state issue. Okay, it is, but it's a city issue because you got your building in Cincinnati. And nobody's not looking into that heavy. I go to City Hall all the time, I talk about the same stuff about seniors. They've been had the health department guy there and everything. But they didn't do nothing. They didn't do nothing at all. They just brush up under the rug. So what Ms. Sandra Jones Mitchell doing, kudos go to her. She's helping the seniors. That's what we need to do, y'all. Help the seniors, y'all.
All right, the first would be healthcare. We have already established a well-known program called Closing the Health Gap by Dwight Tillery. Increase funding for that. That's been around for a while, and continue to develop how to partner with hospitals to get preventative health care and information, better information, and more information into our community. Housing continues to be problematic for our folks that are homeless. Continue to work with groups to address that, and then with seniors, continue to address that issue with nursing homes and other agencies within our community to really provide the quality of living that they deserve.
Thank you. This will probably be our final question. I'll try to combine two. The city's buildings and inspection department has a problem with oversighting or overcitations in the poor or underdeveloped communities. What will you do if you're elected to city council to address the problem? And then also, if you could state if you have any endorsements by the FOP or any other organization.
Currently, I have no endorsements at this time by any other agencies with the buildings and inspectors. I think that particular, I think that continues to be an issue with buildings and inspectors, making sure that they are inspecting buildings, are inspecting areas in our city that need to be addressed in regards to our community.
It came out today. You might
Hold on.
Question: the city's buildings and inspection department has a problem with overcitations in poor or underdeveloped communities. What can be done to address the problem? And also, do you have any endorsements by the FOP or any other organization?
That one goes by the people, FOP at all. But the building inspector, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Why? Because they in the same circle. They play in the black community with citations, going to your building, finding you, making sure you get rid of your property. They do it in every community. One Hill, Evanston, downtown, over the Rhine. Get rid of them building inspectors because they're in the same circle, in the same ties with these lobbyists and playing in the black community. That's what I would do, get rid of these building inspectors.
No problem. And so, first of all, we need to find out if it's true. If it is adversely affecting the African American community, we must put things in place to change it. We must change it. First, we have to find out if it's true. And I'll be quite honest, I don't know. But that's something that I'm answering the question again.
We have,
It's true.
Well, let's be fair to each candidate. Let's be fair, let them hear it out.
right. And so I'm not on city council. I don't have access to information is what I'm saying. That's the only thing I'm saying. But when I'm on council, I'm gonna do things that is just right and fair. Because that's who I am. I'm a principled person. And so, the other part of that question is, I've sought several different endorsements. Several. Because I'm about collaborating with people. I have not received any.
Thank you.
Gary Corbett, and no, I do not have any endorsements. As far as the building and inspection, that's another case of city council. That it's a city department, and it's the city council needs to have better oversight over that, like they do a lot of other things. I don't think they take certain things as far as the city departments seriously. And I think we need to take a look at that and figure out why there's a disparity there between certain neighborhoods and the citations that are being written up. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you again. My name's Don Treehouse. No endorsements. I did not receive the FOP endorsement because we disagree. That's just the way it goes. Oh, I'm sorry, I got Charter's endorsement. I'm sorry, I just saw them all together. I apologize. Yes, I got the Charter. When it comes to dealing with zoning oversight, yes, there is discrimination, there is a disparity. But I think a lot of what the city can do is start dealing with homeowners versus absentee landlords. Homeowners should be given much more leeway when it comes to how they have to deal with paying their bills and dealing with some of the issues that come with their own housing, especially senior citizens. Come on, it's very expensive to maintain a house, especially with an older house in the city of Cincinnati. So we need to do what we can to keep our homeowners in good stead. On the other hand, absentee landlords that exploit the system, they'll be noticed.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Kevin Farmer, running for Cincinnati City Council. I'm endorsed by Joe Kelly, the founder and CEO of Kelly Youth Services, because I came from Foster Care and came from school home, so he endorsed me. I'm endorsed by Orlando Chapman, from the owner of Something to Whine About. I'm also endorsed by Buck Easy Black, he's a young guy from 160 Promotions. I'm also endorsed by Charlie Winburn, and I'm also endorsed by Sheriff Jim Neal. So these are my former Sheriff Jim Neal. So these are my people, individuals that have endorsed me individually. I'm a registered Republican. I haven't been endorsed by the Republican Party yet, or who knows what's going to happen with that. And I haven't been endorsed by no type of unions or anything of that sort. So not just yet. I don't know what's going on if they're going to endorse me. But the biggest question is when it comes down to permitting and things of that nature, when it comes down to red tape, what I found out there is no innovation into government. So when there's no innovation, like we have AI and things of that nature, that we can be able to implement into these type of departments, so we can be able to.
Thank you.
All right, Republican. It shouldn't matter as long as they do the job, right?
I'm trying to make it count. I appreciate it. Again, most of my last go around again, Steve, good, and thank you all very, very much for turning out tonight. And thank you, Judge Hunter, for doing a great job putting this together. These are not easy to do in real time, so I'll be very brief. I've been endorsed by the Charter Party. I was endorsed today by the FOP. I do have significant disagreements, particularly about endorsing this Corey Bowman person, but they know that. We're working together collaboratively in that regard. Also, we'll be seeking several other neighborhood season. In regards to building and inspections, when I was on council, I absolutely felt the disparities, not just because you're out in the community, but working people in general. It is a complete driven process. If you speak with neighbors can get you in trouble, it's wrong. It needs to be reformed. I deal with them constantly as an attorney. That whole system is broken and needs to be reset.
Thank you.
My name is Donald Washington, and I don't have any official endorsements. Hopefully you endorse me. That would be the best endorsement to vote. Be the people behind it. As far as the inspection of the buildings, I think that we have to start empowering our community councils because I think they're really just taken not seriously right now. So we empower the community councils and give them more leeway on what's happening in their community. And what I mean by this is this. If you have a community council, and I know this so-and-so can't get that roof fixed, then those inspections have to go through the community council. We need to have some type of dialogue there where she's not fine. So I think we need to give more power to our community council that will take care of some of those problems.
Thank you. My name is Lakita Cole. I'm endorsed by the Charter Committee. I'm endorsed by the ASME, and I'm endorsed by Local 265, and I'm endorsed by the Matrix groups and women's organization. And in terms of the building inspection, I think they need to be a complete overhaul. Right now, they have in their mindset, it is to continue to definitely, what I want to say is find our community a lot. And I think what needs to happen is they also have an attitude of what you can't do is a can-do attitude. I think there is a disparity of how you find people, as we said before. I think we need to be more cautious on our homeowners and more harsh on the absentee landlords and not treat them the same. I think it's important that we do not find our senior citizens out of their homes, what's happening. We find a way that we can do and help them, as opposed to an attitude of let's find them and have job security, as opposed to let's help them stay in our community and helping them rebuild their houses. And I think that's what needs to happen. When you go to the poll, vote for poll.
Amen.
All right, thank you. This is technically around time to be wrapping up. And I just want to let everyone know, in all fairness, if you didn't have a question, there's a whole lot of questions here that could not get answered. That's why we lowered the time to just 1 minute. So what we're going to do in our fight, and there are also a couple of questions here that we'll read it out just because they really weren't the persons that could address it. Just for persons to get judicial or questions that say are felonies. Those are not really handled by the city. That's usually handled by the county prosecutors and the county government. And so those questions were kind of weeded out. But for the last 10 minutes, we did start about 8 or 10 minutes late, and we have received the go-ahead to give you all at least a minute to wrap up. And so if each person, and we'll start down here with Mr. Parent, I'm so sorry, Mr. Favors, we're going to give each of you 1 minute to say whatever you want to say in seeking the support of those who are out here. So we'll start with you, Mr. Favors. I apologize.
All right, again, my name is Gary Favors, and I am all right. So I'm running again for city council. I have a passion for young people. I've been in education for 25 years. I've seen the city lose our kids because they're not engaged in schools. They're not engaged in the classroom. How do we get our young people on to productive lives? So my passion has always been for the city, grew up in Cincinnati, born and raised here, and just have a passion for our young people and making sure that our young people get what they need and move on to productive lives. Thank you.
My name is Stefan Pryor. Hope to get y'all endorsement, y'all votes. I run the city council because I do care about the community. I be on the scene and in the streets for the community, especially for the seniors, especially for homeowners. If I get in that seat, we'll get rid of that receivership program and taking your home, put you in receivership because you can't fix up your home, and then get rid of that. I like to thank the Sisters of Grace for having this. Thank y'all for that. Thank you.
Yes.
We need to have this at church too.
Yes.
The churches can endorse us now. The pastors can. We need to do that next. But my job is to work for y'all. Y'all vote for me. I love y'all, and nothing y'all can do about it. Stefan Pryor for council.
Thanks for having this event, Rockville Profit. So, again, lifelong Cincinnati, and my life It's all about service because someone poured into me, and I want to pour that into families and young folks. I believe that I have the insights based on my experience with the fire department, military, my communal involvement, understanding how our city works, that I can really make a difference. And mainly because I have the courage. I have the courage. Because that's what it's going to take. A lot of folks are about ambition. My thing is about our collective future. And so if you vote for me, and I'm asking you to vote for me, you're going to have somebody that's going to approach it courageously.
Gary Corbett. I grew up in Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati my whole life. I grew up on the west side in the Blue Collar neighborhood, Riverside, down along River Road, down by Anderson Ferry, if you're familiar with it. Now I live on the east side. I worked for the city for 30 plus years. I loved every minute of it. I was frustrated a lot by trying to get things done, but I still enjoyed working for Cincinnati Waterworks, and I love Cincinnati. I'm obviously not a career politician. I just want to do something to help the city because I think we can do better.
Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, sisters. I appreciate it. My name's Don Driehaus. I'm glad to be here. I think we live in an age of bad faith. And I think it's time to start looking at each other and say it's time to deal in good faith. Down at City Hall, I plan to bring good faith, I plan to listen, and I want to understand. And then we got to act. Proverbs says the shortest answer is doing. It's time for action. And right now, we're not getting the proper action we need in the city. So I appreciate your vote. We're going to make positive change. Thank you.
Kevin Farmer, and I'm here to bring that action. So what now? I thank y'all for this first interview because there's going to be several other interviews that is going to be election. So this interview, I don't know how it is. So I guess I'll ask questions when this is over. From foster care to where I'm at now and being into the system and being emancipated out of the system, I can't believe I had the opportunity to do this and be here to be able to speak to you people because as a God-fearing man, I'm literally like, thank you, Lord, every day because this is all part of my development. I just look at it that now you are my bosses and I just want to be the best employee that I can be to the people because right now what I'm seeing that we have people in political positions that are more self-serving and more acting like my bosses instead of being great employees. I'm here to be more political oversight and literally show you that I am worthy of your vote. So one thing I wanted to reassure y'all, just don't forget, when you go to the polls, I ain't gonna say vote for Cole. When you go to the polls, okay, no, I ain't gonna say vote. They say vote for Farmer, bump, 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 bump. I ain't sure. Then that's going. I tried it again. Turn the mic on. I turned it off.
Okay, can you hear the book?
Hold the button.
There we go. Thank you. But I will be very brief. Again, Steve Gooden, it's been my pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Driehaus, you beat me to Proverbs. Okay, we've been talking a lot about Bible verses, Mr. Driehaus and I. And we've been thinking a lot about Proverbs 29:18 that says, "Where there is no vision, the people will perish." We don't have any vision at DC right now. In my opinion, we don't have a lot of vision at City Hall. And into that vacuum, we see these divisive figures move in. Okay, so it's time for us to push back. The Charter Party's always been about independent thinking, and that's what I think we need. We need independent thinking. We need to be pushed back. I'm proud to say I've been cussed at by 3 different mayors for my independent thinking, and that's just fine. We're happy to take the hits for you, so please remember us here in November. And I want to thank you all for showing up and putting your name on the ballot and showing the courage. Stefan, the main reason I want to run for council again is to see you every week. A great servant who shows up every week. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Donald Washington, and when I stand up here, I hope you see your son, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, because when I look out there, that's what I see, because my biological family, they are proud of me. And when I take this seat, that's exactly what I want you to be proud of me. because I'm not going to let you down. I'm here because I really care for people. I really care for my community. So I hope I conveyed that message today, and I hope you vote for me. A vote for me is a vote for we.
Thank you, thank you. I'm ready because it's time for a change. How many of y'all ready for a change? Y'all ready for that change? Yeah, so I'm running on a charter ticket. I'm calling it the change ticket. It's time for us to change what's going on down at City Hall. I'm standing for code, community reform, council reform, and ensuring that our community have a voice and our citizens have a voice down at the table. O, as I said before, is for opposing connected communities and bringing opportunities for everyone. L, a leadership that listens to you. And E, for experience and transparency that needs to happen down in City Hall that's not going on right now. We need to be more collaborative with our community, more collaborative with the organizations that are going to help and move our community forward, and not just being reinventing the wheel, but actually supporting our neighborhoods, supporting our community. My name is Makita Cole, and I'm asking you when you go to the poll to vote for Cole.
All right.
Could you give a hand to all of the running candidates? Take the time to be here this evening. Just a couple of notes here before we leave. First of all, feel free to talk to them afterwards and ask questions that maybe you didn't get a chance to answer to ask. Also, the people that did not show up tonight: Adricia Brooks, Brian Bennix, Ryan James, Don Johnson, Liz Keating, Dale Mallory, Linda Matthews, Brandon Nixon, Christopher Smitherman, Wynn Summers, and Aaron Weiner. All of them had an opportunity to be here this evening. Everyone was invited, and so make up your minds as to why you think they weren't here this evening. Secondly, our next forum, and again, on behalf of the Sisters of Grace and the Coalition for Just Hamilton County, we want to thank you so much for your attendance this evening. Our next political forum will be on Tuesday, September the 23rd. It will be at my church, at the Western Hills Brethren in Christ Church in Westwood, Ohio. And so we're letting you know now, put it on your calendar. We will be talking to the incumbents or the incumbents at that time, as well as probably some of the other positions, as well as judicial candidates, etc., that were not here this evening. So please put a mark on that date, and we hope to see you out then. And before you leave, please turn in your straw ballot. This is just to get an idea of where people are this evening. If you were to just elect 5 people tonight, that's just for our informal purposes. Please turn these in at the desk and be sure to stop by to any of those tables and get more information. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. God bless you.
I got a wonderful